Do millennials have it easier than Gen Z, or is it the other way around? It's a contentious question that's been asked a million times.
Here comes 1,000,001.
Past generations have had their troubles during their younger years, yeah, but is today any different? Rising costs in food, college tuition, transportation, and healthcare have stifled young people's ability to plan and to save. Obstacles like hookup culture and climate change and rising addiction rates and digital overload has made young people view the future as very, very bleak. It's not the end of the world. Unless you've read it for 5 minutes, then you probably think it is. A lot has happened over the last 10 to 15 years. Some good, some bad, but that begs the question, who has it harder today? Millennials or Gen Zers? Today, I'm going to answer that question. Every generation thinks they have it harder than the previous generation. It's always a subtle grievance in a way, to explain how you must overcome more burdens in your life compared to your parents or grandparents, only for them to follow up with their own subtle grievance about how times were much more difficult when they were starting out. People want to acknowledge their past struggles and how they overcame them.
Back in my day, we used to walk to school barefoot, in the snow, uphill, both ways.
There's this push and pull between the generations, the old versus the new, the potential future versus the knowable past. Older generations want the younger generations to appreciate the hardships that they've endured. This is not a new phenomenon. This has been happening all throughout history, all over the world. Newspapers in America were talking about it in the 1990s. Newspapers in England were talking about it in the 1930s. But it goes back even further than that. Even Aristotle was throwing shade at younger generations all the way back in the 4th century BC. Regarding young people, Aristotle said, "They think they know everything and are always quite sure about it."
That's harsh.
Millennials and Gen Zers make up about 43% of the U.S. population. They're anywhere from ages between 45 to 14 years old. Millennials are those born between 1981 and 1996. Me, I fall directly in that time span. Gen Z are those born between 1997 and 2012. 2012? Wow. I may sound old here, but that does not seem that long ago to me. I was in college in Mississippi in 2012, living my best life. I would go to the clubs and try to pick up girls by showing them how good I was at Gangnam Style. My friends and I, we weren't worried about the end of the Mayan calendar and the possible end of human civilization. The only problems my friends and I had was wondering how we let this guy convince us that we were all going to stop a Ugandan warlord. I wonder how that turned out.
Confirms that Jason Russell, who you see there, just on CNN last week, was found in his underwear running through the streets of San Diego yesterday, screaming and acting irrationally, and it appears it went downhill from there.
Generations are always comparing themselves to each other. That's nothing new. That's been around forever. But an article from Yahoo just came out, and I have to talk about it. An article featured on Yahoo discusses the difficulty for Gen Zers to attain the same level of comfort as millennials and even Gen Xers. The price of college has skyrocketed, and having a college degree no longer guarantees a high-paying job. Social media is destroying the youth's idea of beauty and success. Home prices and rent prices have gone through the roof. You like that joke? Gone through the roof? You get it? Yeah. And even if you find a great job, you worry about AI stealing it while they slowly become our overlords. But don't worry, we have a guy who knows how to stop overlords.
Was found in his underwear running through the streets of San Diego yesterday.
Yeah, it's a difficult world out there. Sure, America is the wealthiest country in the world, by far. But that doesn't mean that everyone has it easy. That doesn't mean that no one will struggle. And right now, young people are really struggling. The article mentions an acronym I had never heard before. NEAT.
Oh, she turned me into a newt!
No, not newt. NEAT. N-E-E-T. NEAT stands for Not in Education, Employment, or Training. It's a position that many young people find themselves in. Instead of living the American dream where you come back from your enjoyable job to a nice house and a loving, waiting family, instead you're single and probably living with your parents, and you're jobless because you have a useless degree. Because of that, you're not attaining workforce skills. It's a rut that's very, very difficult to get out of. Or is it? And the more I read this article, the more it confused me. The people they interviewed are taking pride in not having a job. They're taking pride in living with their parents. They play video games or watch Twitch streams all day. They had more time to eat healthy and go to the gym, alluding to the fact that the only way to adequately take care of yourself mentally and physically was to not have a job. When they finally did get a job, they were depressed because they no longer got to do all the things that made them happy. Yeah, I like to do those things too. A job can suck. That's why they pay you to do it. But had I not had a job, I would have missed out on so many opportunities and so many conversations with interesting people. Not everyone can chill with their parents for years, while the only experience you get is explaining to your online buddy which elite spec you should equip in Guild Wars 2. Reaper is the answer. The article highlights some men's past struggles with mental health and the overwhelming isolation and feelings of uselessness. They feel like the good job, the good friends, the good partners are all available to the traditionally successful men, leaving many others feeling hopeless and alone. And that's a huge problem. My heart breaks to see people in circumstances like this. The internet was supposed to bring us together. Social media was supposed to give us this overall sense of community. We live in an era where the means of communication has never been easier.
Hey guys, a little bit of a side note here. Speaking of communication that's a little too easy, I know that all too well. When I was younger, I found out that Lacey Chabert, you know, the woman who played Gretchen Wieners in Mean Girls, was actually from Mississippi. So I reached out to her on social media, I DM'd her, and told her that I was a fan, that I liked her movies and I thought she was really cool, and that I hope to meet her someday.
She never responded.
Okay, that was so fetch.
I guess my Gangnam Style wasn't good enough for her. Maybe the means of communication should not be that easy. But with all this access to communication, why are so many portions of the United States feeling lonelier than ever? So many Gen Zers are feeling abandoned and left out. They want jobs and friends, but society has been twisted into this puzzle that's keeping these things out of their grasp. But if you read the comments to this article, you get a completely different picture.
These young men don't want to work anymore. They will even accept hanging out on the couch while their woman brings home the bacon. It's all entitlement.
Also, who is paying for their gaming? Stop paying for their phone, change your Wi-Fi password, and stop letting them use your car.
A woman ready to settle down probably wouldn't date such a dude, but they're not ready for that till they're in their mid-30s. Till then, they're just hooking up with every good-looking dude they want.
One of them is now the president.
Those failure salons don't want the responsibility of relationships, marriage, and family.
The parents are the real problems here.
These are boys in men's bodies. Somehow, they missed the boat when it was time to transition to manhood. Their parents aren't doing them any favors by allowing them to continue to sponge off of them.
Why do we make up cool new terms to describe what has always been known as lazy? In my day, it was called being a lazy bum. When I was growing up, we had one word for that: lazy.
Are NEETs struggling because society is asking them to change too much? Or are they lazy? My friends and I were given a similar treatment when we were young adults.
I was a senior in high school when the 2008 recession hit. People lost their life savings when the stock market tanked. Friends of ours lost their jobs or homes. Depression rates went sky high. And there I was, a fresh-faced kid with a high school diploma ready to tackle the college landscape. Originally, I was going to major in architecture, but quickly learned that due to the recession, that architecture was one of the worst majors to choose in 2008. No one wanted to build new houses. They couldn't even sell the ones they had.
So I chose a degree that was impervious to recession. Art. I chose art.
And shoot, with that, I think we about have a finished painting. It's that easy. Let's take a little bit of the paint thinner, a little bright red, and we'll sign this little rascal.
My outlook on the future was bleak. Everyone my age was in the same boat. Our prospects didn't look good because it took the economy years to recover. When millennials began joining the workforce, we had to take low-paying jobs that barely covered our massive student loan payments. We found apartments and quickly learned we couldn't afford rent. We put off finding partners because marriage? Have you seen the price of a wedding these days?
You, got anything a little plainer?
Plainer? You want a plain ring to go with your plain fiancé? Is that how it is?
Oh, baby, don't get in a tizzy.
And then came the older generations that told us to calm down, that we had it easy compared to them, that back in their day that they would work long, grueling hours and never get vacation time. They suffered setbacks, sure. They had the dot-com bubble bursting of 2000. They had the 1987 Black Monday that devoured a lot of people's plans. But they told us that we would survive, just like they did. They told us that we would be fine because we had more technology than they did. And technology makes everything easier. It's like that they thought just because I knew how to jailbreak my iPhone that Google would call me and offer me the CEO position. My first job out of college only paid $10 an hour. I lived with my parents for the first year because the only place I could afford was living under a highway bridge. It didn't have enough closet space, so I decided not to. But I worked hard during my first job. It taught me diligence, determination, teamwork. And then I got another job. And let me tell you, this one solved all of my problems. Nope. My new job only paid $11 an hour. I was able to afford new khakis though.
But eventually, I, along with other millennials, were able to find better paying and stable jobs. We were able to get married, afford a mortgage or rent, and spent time with friends. It took a while, but it happened. Our parents and grandparents were right in many ways. Just like their parents and grandparents were right about Generation X, and their parents and grandparents about baby boomers, things got better with time.
But over the last few years, there have been 4 things that have happened that make me think that parents and grandparents are no longer telling the younger generation that everything is going to be fine.
COVID changed the perception of what a job really is. Remote jobs have opened the floodgates for an oversaturation of applications. Just a few years ago, if you lived in Los Angeles, then the only reason you applied to a job in Des Moines, Iowa, is if you were moving there. Now, that Des Moines, Iowa remote job has thousands of applicants from all over the world. Good luck getting that one, buddy. Jobs are becoming more digital, online, and computer-oriented, thus creating a culture where people are so addicted to technology, they don't see what's right in front of them. All this has made the job market more competitive. And even if you do get a job, you're less likely to meet friends because the culture has shifted from the physical to the digital. This makes people more isolated and feeling lonelier than ever. And all signs point to this not changing anytime soon. Lifestyle creep is real.
It takes more to feel like you're living a standard life nowadays. Back in the 1950s, the average home was much smaller than it is now. Cheaper, too. A working father could provide for his entire family on one salary, and that included buying a single television set for the family and Play-Doh for the kids. Most families only had one car. But today, homes are big by comparison, and due to overregulation and permit structures, they are more pricey than ever. Now, everyone in the family needs a car, a phone, a streaming service, a television in their room, AirPods, new clothes each year, countless video games and toys. If someone told you they only bought their child one piece of Play-Doh for Christmas, you'd call Child Protective Services. And that doesn't even include the rising prices of childcare, insurance, and healthcare. Living a life that is considered standard today is very, very expensive. The price of necessities is at an all-time high. This chart shows how prices have increased since the year 2000. Some items are cheaper, like toys and clothing, but those items have always been pretty cheap to begin with. Look at the items that have gotten more expensive. Housing, food, childcare, tuition, hospital services. These necessities have always been expensive, and they keep going up at incredible rates. Each generation has their big events, the moments in history that decide the before and the after. Baby boomers went through the Vietnam War and the Civil Rights Movement. Gen Xers went through the Cold War and the Challenger disaster. Millennials went through 9/11 and the 2008 financial crisis. Gen Zers thought their big thing would be COVID. But I think when they look back, it will be something else. AI has taken the world by storm. Trillions of dollars are being poured into companies that promise that artificial intelligence will revolutionize the globe and make everyone happier and richer. But is this true? Every day I see a new article about which jobs are most likely to be replaced by AI, and many of them are high-paying jobs that require a lot of education. Fortunately, I majored in art, and AI can never replace a skilled artist. Oh, never mind. Millennials have these things to worry about to a degree, but it'll be years, if not decades, before AI is completely absorbed into the workforce like all these AI companies are promising. Millennials have had years in the workforce to gain experience and savings. But Gen Zers? They've gone from having to compete for a job against Richard the Temp, who always has mustard on his shirt, to trying to outsmart an advanced artificial intelligence that can digest every word on the internet. Sure, AI can't do everything, but for the jobs it can't do, it just hires a human to do them.
AI is hiring humans now. AI built a website called rentahuman.ai. Anything that AI can't do yet, it's just renting humans to do. Think, drop something off, take pictures. People are getting paid by the AI to hold signs. It's like a Black Mirror episode. Who's paying you? Agent 674. As of today, there's 600,000 rentable humans available on this website.
That's right, Gen Zers. One day, your boss will be an artificial intelligence program. Your boss will never eat. Your boss will never sleep. Your boss will never make a mistake. And every time you click on your computer when you're playing solitaire, your boss will know about it.
Back in my day, my boss was a human being.
The obstacles that Gen Zers face to have a meaningful and productive life keep getting longer. Sure, Millennials will face some of that too, but Gen Zers are at a crucial time in their life where they must decide what kind of future they want to make for themselves. But that's impossible to do when around every corner there's some new person or company making changes to a society that you thought you had figured out. Millennials were the first generation to broadcast their lives on the internet. Some hard lessons were learned. Things on the internet never go away.
That's embarrassing.
Gen Zers know this, so they constantly worry about how they look, what they say, how they appear to strangers on the internet. They worry about doing cringe things because
They've learned from millennials that stuff follows you for life. In the current era, when Gen Zers have less friends than other generations because of the nature of work, when it takes so much more for the average, when all the necessities of life are more expensive than ever, when the blooming AI business is threatening the livelihoods of entry-level positions,
no wonder there's so many people in the NEET community. They're disengaged and despondent, and I don't blame them. Why wouldn't they be? Why would they put time and resources, energy and money into something that can easily be ripped away from them? Maybe Aristotle was correct for the first 2,400 years, but maybe he's wrong this time. Gen Zers do not think they know everything. Gen Zers aren't sure about anything at the moment. Anxiety and depression have latched onto them, and they find it very difficult to thrive. And this is why I think Gen Zers have it harder than millennials, or any other generation in the modern era. Change has always happened in the United States, but right now, it's happening at such a blinding speed that it's impossible not to feel whiplash from it. But all is not hopeless. Data suggests that Gen Zers are much more tolerant to people who look or act differently from them. They are less hedonistic and prioritize a good work-life balance. They excel at learning and learning at a quick pace.
They focus on authenticity and resourcefulness, all the while focusing their efforts on activism and protests. Gen Zers are a smart bunch that make up about 21% of the population. I have hope that they will maneuver through the murky waters of AI and high prices. It will take time, just like it did for us millennials, but my bet is on them to figure it out and carve out a unique niche into the American psyche. Who knows? They may end up being the generation that unplugs and starts living a more simple life like they did in the 1950s. A small, affordable home, one TV so the family can gather around meals. Maybe their kids won't need a new iPad for Christmas. Maybe a new tub of Play-Doh will do. And maybe they embrace AI and use it to create new and exciting entrepreneurial endeavors that will change the world.
I don't know exactly how they'll do it, but I know they'll figure it out. Together. The internet was supposed to bring us together. Social media was supposed to give us a sense of community. We live in an era where the means of communication has never been easier. Maybe Generation Z will be the ones who team up and use these resources to create something that's truly good for the world. And that will be a much bigger accomplishment than walking to school barefoot in the snow uphill both ways.
Okay, that was so fetch.
Thanks for watching my video. If you liked it, make sure you like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. I'm going to be posting some more videos over the upcoming months about things that I find interesting or funny, so make sure you check those out. Bye, y'all.